Techno. Hollywood.
Hello, hello.
Sweet
Anyone hear us?
16.
Sweet 16, yes. Number
Oh,
16,
no.
welcome to Techno Hollywood. How are you?
Good. So Tan has the fan on, which we
Yes.
cannot hear.
Yes. You know why?
Because Germans don't believe in AC.
Exactly. No, it's not. It's those older buildings don't have AC. Like, even if you want, you've been here, like with the high ceilings, the wooden floors, and all the like nice ornaments in the wall and stuff. Of course, they don't have AC. And then to install central AC, you would have to rip up. These buildings are over 100 years old, right? So only the modern buildings have AC, and you never needed AC here in Germany. But now it's getting kind of, if you have like a southern facing building, it gets really kind of hot now. Like, and you have like all the modern glass windows, top to ceiling and stuff. Like it's like a glass house effect, you know. So it's getting hotter now, and I think also like generally with Germany is becoming an AC country. And I think last summer or something ridiculous, when it was like a heat wave, I remember everyone was like, all the AC, like you could buy like mobile AC units. They were all sold out. They were like $1,000 each or something. And you just sort of have to mount them on the floor. Then you have to sort of put like a thing over your window. And then there's like a tube that you have to lead out for and it's so
I
complicated.
got one over here.
Exactly, but
Complicated.
it's like
Germans engineer stuff. What do you mean they're complicated?
I know, but it's like it's never like fully sealed, and it's probably a lot of waste of a lot of like it's
Bosch probably made
a
a killing.
Yeah, and all these companies made a killing. Probably more Chinese companies because all the units were like not German brands. I feel
Or Korean. Koreans are big in the AC game. LG, Samsung.
Yeah, all these units. Yeah.
I think Germans don't like it because it's like that line from Casablanca, like "We Germans must get used to all climates."
Really, there's a line.
Yeah, when the Nazis arrive, this is another well, this is more like Morocco, but when the Nazis arrive in Morocco, the Sultan or whoever, some guy in Morocco takes him around. And they're like, are you comfortable? Is it hot? And he's like, no, we Germans must get used to all climates.
Wow. Okay,
he's just marching in full uniform in the desert.
It's enduring pain. That's what Germans love. Anyways, so yeah, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, good.
I put a clip up. Do you see the cherries?
Yeah, the German English one. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. I like to still have to repost it. Yeah, it's been kind of hectic because I literally just got back yesterday night because we went to like last week was really like a musical week almost like so I'll start maybe so I as people might know, you know it, I play a guitar, right? It's my main instrument, I would say. And when I was like a teenage boy, I had like I switched to electric guitar, and my guitar teacher
You're still a teenage boy.
I guess, yeah. And then he basically he introduced me to all these rock bands back the like 80s, the 90s rock bands. And of course, like the biggest band back then and still to this point, which is kind of amazing if you think about it, is a band called the Scorpions. Have you heard of them?
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say the Rolling Stones. What do you mean the Scorpions?
No, like we're talking a German band now.
Yeah.
So a little bit of
they all
history.
went, like all the Germans went to the concert in LA, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, this was Rammstein.
Rammstein. Okay.
Yeah, that's the new generation. So Scorpions is a band from, I believe they were founded in the 70s or something. And they had huge hits in the 80s. And they were like before all the big US bands, actually, like talking about Metallica, Rammstein. Yeah. Basically, they became so big out of a small German town called Hanover. They became so big that when they toured the States, Metallica was opening up for them. You know, that type of thing, you know, and you might know one or two. There's like one song is called Hurricane. Here I am, right? That's them.
That's Germans.
That's Germans. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. You didn't know this. And then
is
the
it
Wind
about
of
invading
Change.
Poland?
I don't know, but it's and then they have a song called Wind of Change, which like basically was used as almost like the anthem for when the wall came down. because it's about a song, Wind of Change. I was down in Russia and something other thing, and they have Still Loving You. They have like all this. We're talking like I think they sold like 100 million records or CDs or albums or whatever worldwide, and they were that big. And they were not only big in the States, they were big like in eight. They were one of the first international rock star super bands before all the Guns N' Roses and all the Metallicas and all that stuff. They were already touring like in Asia and Japan and in Latin America. They have and they've been basically around for what, 40, 50 years now. It's crazy at this point. So I'm getting to the story. Basically, I went to a concert here in Berlin because a friend of mine, he works with them. He works at Universal. Shout out to Martin. And he basically said, "Hey, are you interested to come to the Scorpions show?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Because I didn't know that they were playing in town, and I was like, "Wow, they're still active." Like, yeah, they just released a new album, and they did a full-on like a Las Vegas residency for like weeks. They played every night, and people like just last year.
Is it like in Germany? Are they known as the Scorpions or the German word?
No, the Scorpions. It's one Scorpions, basically the Scorpions. Yeah, and basically. What it is, like, I looked it up, like some of the songs have 600, 700, 800 million streams right now on Spotify.
Wow.
Like
Rock Me Like a Hurricane's, like, it's probably getting syncs every time.
I was just going to tell that, like, I went to a concert.
Event or...
I bumped into the publishers of BMG, and they were all there, and they're like, "Yeah, we have to take care of our
who's
baby,
the publisher?" See those guys with the Rolexes? Those are the publishers.
Yeah, exactly. And then the lady told me, like, you can't believe this. Like, there's every day since 30 years, there's a sync request for Hurricane every day. And they don't do all of them, of course, but it's just ridiculous. She wouldn't disclose the amount, but it's literally millions per year that this one song only makes for them. And that's probably their biggest.
I'm sure it gets like 500,000 aside sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Just for one sync.
Yeah.
So it's probably doing like 10. They can't do it too much, otherwise the value goes down. But
exactly, But at least somewhere between probably 2-digit millions, like in sync fees alone, and that's not even calculating radio or like in performance fee. They still play the song. They're still on a world tour for like 40 years now. It's crazy how that's like one song. They have like 8 hits or something, and not at that caliber, but they have similar caliber hits. And so it was amazing to see them. And now here's the crazy part. Like, these guys, I looked it up, obviously. These guys are 75 years old. That's like as old as our parents, I would say.
Older
and they
than
look
mine.
And they look like rock stars still. And they act like rock stars. And they are rock stars. They played a 2-hour show. Like, I was being tired. Thank God I was in a Universal lounge so I could sit down and have a glass of wine and stuff. And me being lazy, like very rock and roll.
Scorpions. My Pinot Grigio.
That's what I had, like one more champagne, please. So I saw.
Excuse me, waiter. Which wine pairs best with the next song? In the pits, they're like throwing bottles at each other.
The crowd is interesting. It was, of course, older people too, because they know the Scorpions since the 80s. But also it was a young demographic, like too. Like, there were younger kids too, because they're all being nostalgic, and a lot of young kids like classic rock now, and they find it all on, like, I know, like, kids 13 years, they listen to Queen.
Why is these songs have songwriting? Why are they catchy? This is weird.
Exactly. Why are they classic songwriting? Yeah. So it was an amazing They played for like 2 hours, a big show with all the full 9 yards, like the screens, the lights, the fire, and it was
Pyro?
Amazing.
Yeah,
a little bit of fire, not as much as Rammstein, but it was like it was pretty. Sometimes these rock bands, if they get older, they sort of fall off, but the singer could hit all the high notes still. Wow. I don't know if it's the original key, but it sounded like it. The drummer is actually, the original drummer apparently has been out for a couple of years. It's been replaced with the guy from Motorhead, and from Lemmy. So it's like really top musicians. And then after the show, because I had the connects with, like, he's like, okay, let's go backstage. So we went backstage, and I got to meet some of the band members, the singer real quick, but the head of the band, like sort of the musical genius and the guy who wrote all the songs and the stuff that I learned as coming back to my guitar playing, which I sort of like was so like in awe of was the main guitar player and writer, a guy called Rudolf Schenker, and he couldn't be like. I just met him and then I got introduced, and he was such a nice student. He's like, I think I saw you early on before the show. Like you were hanging out. Like I was just in a room with him, but I didn't want to bother him before the show. But he sort of realized, and he's like, I saw you before, like before the show. I was like, wow, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so
you're a brand.
Yes, like I guess he recognized my brand again.
Yeah,
DJ hat and glasses. Mr. Hat and glasses. Yeah, like cool. Yeah, but then he was like. Then we talked real quickly, and then it's like, okay, let's all go out, and then sort of we went to the hotel, and then at the hotel they were like, it was like what was it? It was this Waldorf Astoria. They have a Waldorf Astoria in Berlin now.
That sounds German.
But then and then they basically have like the big one in New York, and then and they basically didn't have any drinks left, like the bar closed. And they're like, what the hell? Like, we pay $1,000 here per night, and we want to have a little party with our friends, and they couldn't get alcohol, like any drinks. So we had to sort of walk around in West Berlin, find a bar. And then you have to imagine the scene, like the whole entourage, about 20 people, family and friends, and the Scorpions, on a Wednesday, I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, at like 1 a.m. in a small, like little dive bar, like which was open, the doors open, boom, the whole posse walks in. The people, they fell off their chairs.
Did they know who it was?
Yeah, of course. Everyone like freaked out. And they came, like younger people came to ask for autographs and photos and all that stuff. But then we were like on our own and we were talking. It was so interesting because he's like, I'm going to share this story because it's like, it was a childhood dream in a way. Like I would have never thought that I actually get to meet this guy. You know, it was really inspiring. And then for all of the people like he sort of picked out to talk to, he was connecting with me, you know. So I sat there with him at the bar. He was being sort of harassed, but he's like, no, I'm talking to this, to Tan, to this dude. And so we talked at least like half an hour, 45 minutes, like pretty intense about everything. And then he gave some life lessons and he joked around. He's such a cool guy, I have to say. Like I've been such a fanboy, you know? Yeah, and a fan. Yeah. And I didn't know that I was that much of a fan. But then, of course, like listening to all the sounds and songs before, they're sort of part of the 80s, 90s, and still like of the sort of the German rock feel. Yeah. And I don't listen to rock music a lot nowadays, obviously, but it was still like it connected to something, obviously. Yeah. And then he was talking about like, you know, the key thing to everything is I'm like, okay, now some knowledge and stuff. And he's like, what you have to do really. And he learned it because he was sort of copying the Beatles when they went to India. So he's like, meditation is the key to everything. I was like, wow, like a rock star like this, like talking about meditation. So he says his biggest songs since the 70s that he wrote while meditating, or that they came to him after his meditation. And he still parties. And we were still drinking alcohol, you know, there, like with 75 and stuff. But he's like, he's talking about the importance to look inside and to meditate, you know.
I wonder if he does like the transcendental meditation.
I think so, yeah. I think he did. He talked about TM.
We got, yeah.
So with the mantra and all that
the
stuff.
The TM, yeah. So he's he's a TM.
Yeah, he's a TM guy. I don't know if that's...
that's why he's focused on you. He's trying to recruit you.
Yeah, I guess, exactly.
He's like, there's a center in Berlin. It's 1,000 euros. Just go pay it. It's like $1,000.
I know, like it's a thing, but I don't think you have to. Obviously, like just doing yoga every day, half an hour is already meditation in movement. You know, like you just gotta sometimes look inside a little bit, you know, and look. But it was an inspiring evening. And then it was so funny because I guess that's public knowledge. I don't know if I'm dropping it. So like he's like, so I'm like, do you have kids and stuff? And he's like, yeah, I have a kid who's 53 years old, and I have another kid who's 7 years old. I'm like, whoa. What? Wow. Yeah, because like he just recently had a kid, and now he had a kid like 50 years ago.
He's got a kid older than you.
Exactly. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, he's as old.
He's like, you should hang out with my son.
Exactly, but the older son, yeah.
Yeah, he's getting play dates for his kids with you.
Yeah, so what a legend. And he's like, yeah, wait, back then I lived in New York. Yeah, I was hanging out with Jimmy, meaning Jimi Hendrix, you know? Yeah, with Led Zeppelin and this and that. Like, he's just seen it all. He's rock royalty, you know? Wow. And it's great that he still walks the earth, you know?
What's his name?
Like, Rudolf Schenker.
Rudolf Schenker.
Schenker.
Well, we got to follow the Scorpions now on our Instagram. So that's you kind of, if you just put your phone on record, we could have had an episode.
No, but these are private moments. Obviously,
I'm kidding, but like have them on the pod. Obviously. Now you're buddies.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. No, I'd also connect with the tour manager and all these people. Yeah. And it's funny, like if you look around, there's a documentary also, like how big they are. And someone said, like just recently, like Rick Rubin wants to work with them. You know, he's a big fan. Like we're talking, like a lot. They probably have way more clout and way more like get more respect for their art and for their music in the States than in Germany. I feel like in Germany, people like, yeah, they're Germans, they've made it big and everything. But you know, sometimes they, as they say, like your profit, but not it doesn't count in your own country, type of thing. There's also saying that. You know, so basically, I feel they're bigger, much more bigger internationally, and they get more respect, and like the biggest names love them. Like I mean, Rick Rubin, come on.
I'm gonna listen to them on the car ride today.
Yeah, right after, it's fun. Yeah. It's fun 80s stuff, you know. The 80s rock.
I'm sure it's in my liked songs. Like I'm sure it's there.
Yeah. So that was a big music moment.
Huge music moment.
Yeah, that was quite.
And you got to see them play and then hang.
Yeah, hang. I mean, I spent literally like 6 hours, 7 hours with them, you know, and then we left.
They weren't tired after the show?
4 or 5 in the morning. No, two of them were tired, but the rest was hanging. Yeah, they didn't go crazy, but they still wanted to meet with their family and friends. And I think it's because Berlin, like the label is there, and I'm sure they had a bunch of friends. There was like a bigger crew, but I was more like just talking to Mr. Schenker.
I was listening to Bill Maher's podcast, and he had Billy Corgan, like the singer from Smashing Pumpkins, on. Of course. Yeah. And they were talking about like why do rock stars like do drugs and why do they like keep partying? It's like because you come off stage so high, you don't want that to come down, so you kind of keep going.
Yeah. Or they fall into depression, like because the adrenaline is so high after these 2 hours, and then you just all of a sudden you're alone in your hotel room, of course. Yeah. And that sort of brings you down. That's why you gotta slowly go down and with some friends and continue the vibes a little bit, and then you sort of fade out. And then of course people overdo it and they want to stay on that level, you know. And that's why I think it's addictive that people, if you don't watch out, like I don't think like fame. Of course, fame is addictive too, but I think the high you get from performing and being on stage,
it's not being famous. Famous is nothing. It's being on stage is the great part.
Yeah, being on stage, and then having all this feedback from the crowd, and then basically you have to deal with that. I think that's the key thing where a lot of artists sort of had to use other coping mechanisms, you know, and drugs and all kinds of to sort of deal with that feeling.
Yeah, trying to get the same drug that you get on stage.
Yeah. And nothing can prepare you for that feeling because it's not natural, obviously. I mean...
No, I mean, even comedy, it's not natural for one person to hold a mic and have everyone else just stand.
I know, and then have like 10,000 people watch you and scream and laugh and celebrate.
I mean, getting a crowd to laugh and that reaction, that's also pretty like intense.
Yeah, I think that for me, like as I told you, this is for me is the most intense because as a musician or a singer, you can always hide behind the instrument. There's a song, but I mean, it doesn't get.
You can always blame the bass player or someone.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not grooving. Sorry, or the sound check was off. The speaker fell through, whatever. But comedy, like you can't. There's no excuses.
There's no sound check. Funny, it's like, is there a mic? No sound check. You just like, you're done.
Done. You know.
Yeah.
So that was good.
That's a great story.
Yeah, the Scorpions. They definitely gotta name this episode the Scorpions. Hanging with the Scorpions.
Hanging with the Scorpions. I'm gonna write that down.
So that was good. And then
hey, when I called you, I called you LL Cool Ton. It made me think like, wait a minute, like there's all these rappers like Lil Wayne, Lil Durk, Lil whatever, Lil Kim, but no one took LL. No one said
because it's kind of cheesy, like 80s, 90s, like. Ladies love, you know, it's like it's also associated with LL Cool J, like I need love, you know, it's kind of corny, I think.
Yeah, but that hasn't stopped other people.
Yeah, but who has love or ladies in their rap name?
You could be LL whatever, LL Time.
Yeah, Yeah, but then you gotta lick your lips, and then you gotta
one
do
pant
your
leg
thing.
up.
Like,
You gotta do FUBU.
yeah, but LL is, like, did you know that LL, talking about LL, like he actually, he came up with the term GOAT,
Yeah.
greatest of all time. It's now part of the normal lingo. Like people seem to forget, but he actually came on record, and everyone's like, yeah, it's true. Like he's the guy he wrote a song called GOAT, greatest of all time, back then, and he rapped about it. And
I think,
now
was it
it's
a
like
song or an album or?
I think it was a song from what I remember.
Yeah.
And basically now the term, the GOAT, the Grazer, is basically part of the normal language, right? And he invented it.
So they passed on LL, and they're like, "We'll take GOAT, but you can keep L. You can keep Ladies Love." But
Come on,
we like GOAT. GOAT's good.
We like, but I mean, LL had a huge successful TV career and movie and TV and everything. Right?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
he's huge.
Not as a musician anymore. Like he's huge, and he's a cultural icon. Huh? Like
I remember the cannabis battle. That was big.
What was that again?
He was battling this rapper Cannabis.
Yeah, okay, I remember. Yeah, okay. Like I thought like he had some cannabis battle.
No,
like
I mean maybe, but
smoking
like
up or something.
yeah, that was like a big deal. And then
okay, I remember. Yeah. No, I remember listening to LL Cool J. Like I like his stuff.
He was Def Jam. I mean, he was the
yeah. He started. I mean, if you think about it, and he started like the whole career of Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin, all that. And I think through him, the Beastie Boys came through the label. Something he found the Beastie Boys too.
He's got a company now called Rock the Bells, and they do like hip-hop cruises and like events and stuff.
Yeah, he's an icon. The man.
And you got the hat. You got the LL hat.
I know, and it's an original Kangol hat. That's the whole thing.
Kangol.
Like I wear like. Yeah, of course.
Show me your leg. Is your pant leg rolled up?
No, it's not. I can't move up. No, yeah, but I guess LL has an influence on me.
Yeah,
it's funny.
LL Cool Ton.
LL Cool T.
If we didn't already have the Scorpions, this would be called LL Cool Ton. But Scorpions wins.
Scorpions wins. Yeah. So and then another big music thing is like as I said, I just came back from Belgium with Joplin. And actually,
I want to go to Belgium. Is it nice?
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I didn't see a lot from the actuals, and we flew into
Did you have
Brussels.
Waffles?
Yeah, I had a little bit of waffle. I had these fried fish things. Forgot the name of it. And then basically, it's from what I could tell, it was very clean. And I mean, it's similar to Holland, I guess, to the Netherlands.
The Benelux countries, right?
It's same. Yeah, it's Belgium, the Benelux countries exactly.
Belgium,
same
Netherlands. What else?
Luxembourg. It's just like one city / country. So we flew into Brussels very early on. Where was it? On Sunday, because it's a 3-day festival called Extrema, and it's apparently from Holland, but they moved it to Belgium. We're talking, it's like a Tomorrowland. It's like a couple of 100,000 people. It's huge. It had 7 stages, and it's not so commercial. Like Tomorrowland has all the big David Guettas and all the big stars. But this one had like more the underground, so-called underground stars, and all the harder stuff in a way. Like, so they had like really hard techno stages and also hard gabba and hard style stages. Like we're talking 160 BPM, really hard techno, like metal techno in a way. Yeah? But they also had some more melodic stuff, obviously. And we didn't know what to expect. We flew in at the airport, and then they put everyone in the same airport hotel because then it's more convenient. Then they had shuttles to bring us to the venue, and massive production. Like we're talking a huge lake, 7 stages, and Joplin played. It had a good playtime. This festival started at noon. It's a daytime thing, and it goes till like midnight, and then it's it's in the middle of nowhere, like on a lake, and it's like we're talking like. It's so big, like you needed to have golf carts to sort of like Coachella to drive around in the backstage to have the people shuttle the people around the stages because you can't just walk from one stage to the other because it's just too big. And like the headliners were Black Coffee played and Amelie Lenz, which is like a huge techno star from Belgium. So she had like 50,000 people or more standing in front of the stage there. It was mind blowing.
Yeah.
And Joplin played a good stage, but also like a good show. And at the very end, like it filled up like a big tent, like we're talking 4,000 or 5,000 people. But it's also like what I realized again, it's so tough with the competition and also as a live artist, because you only play original songs and you play stuff that you sort of produce, and you compete against DJs who can play the hottest 10 songs on the planet right now. Like we're talking underground. So it's basically, they have to choose from so many great hit records, and they can just drop hits and stuff that sounds good. And you're competing only with your own material. So it is tough, but it's, I mean, that's a decision you have to make, like, are you a DJ or are you a live act? And we made that decision, but it was just like, it was hard to see because the DJ before killed it with some really big bangers, and then people like would expect some more hits, and then you come with original songs. And of course, as she's not that known yet, she's still a newcomer. She doesn't have the big massive hits, right? So you really had to, some people left, but some people came to the stage too, so you have to earn your audience in a way. That was quite interesting for me to see. And then also like this, because of due to some technical issues, like some issues with some DJs, but we had to play 2 hours. And 2 hours for a live show is too much, like 90 minutes is the perfect length. It's like a movie,
That's insane.
Like you have like 3 acts. And then to play 2 hours with original material, you've seen the show, like just singing constantly, and it's too much. It's also like, it's not interesting for the people. Like you want to compress it all and have like a journey. So we also had to play some older stuff, which sort of, so it was a tricky one, but thank God the last half hour it filled up and she had a good time. And she always has a good time. So it's cool. It's just me as a manager, and be like, I could see where the sort of the hiccups were and what we could do.
You're getting upset in a different way. You're like, I'm the manager. I know, we shouldn't have this 2 hour set. Like,
yeah.
And then the also, of course, having fun, and no one probably.
Yeah, knows. It was fun. The people are having fun. Everyone's having a good time. I'm just like analyzing, of course, the whole time. But that's my job. So, but it was a good experience, and we walked around, met so many. That's the thing with festivals, like. What you really do is like you network, like all the managers are, the booking agents are there, the artists are there, the other ones. Like you start to make collaborations. You meet in the hotel lobby, you meet in the shuttle service, you meet backstage. That's really where all these connections come from, really, and where you can build your
relationships.
Brand, you build your relationship at all these festivals, So it's important to play there to make some fans. You can see on Instagram and Spotify, we have immediately some more responsive. You can see that the show was worth it, but then it's also like you have to then basically the networking is so important. To do the after the show. It's basically you can't just go home, like you hang out, You meet with the other artists.
It's your version of the Scorpions. You got to get out.
Exactly.
You got to kick open the door, go into a bar, and hug everyone, and be like, "I'm here."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm here. Let's party. Yeah.
Party.
Then, of course, because we have a drink rider, there's so much drinks. You can always invite people. Hey, come here. Like I have a drink. Everyone keeps inviting everyone with their drink riders.
Could you do this sober or no?
Yeah, I can. I actually didn't drink a lot this time around because I knew it was a Sunday and also it was a daytime. Like it feels weird if it's like 3 p.m. and you start hammering like tequila. I mean, some people do it, obviously. So I had
the whole
a drink
city
later
of Vegas is based on that.
I know, yeah. And also like in Spain, like all these party destinations are based on that. But I can do it so, and I think it's actually better to do it sober because then you connect more, and it's funny, like I've talked to some DJs and their big thing is like, I stopped drinking now, so you see more and more artists, because to live that lifestyle and to play 150 shows, 200 shows a year, you can't just get hammered every year. You can, but then it's going to take a toll, and you can only do it a couple of years and you're going to fall off,
so it's almost better to be sober.
Yeah, it's always better to be, and you can enjoy it much more. So, and nothing against a little party here left and right, but I think it's more clever to do it. And you can there's a difference between drinking 1 glass and like 10 drinks. Like there's nothing wrong with 1 drink or 2, but if you do 10, it gets in the way of things.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice to have a clean mind, clean body.
Yeah. So but there was another crazy, and then here's a funny story. So I don't know how he did it, but I mean, let's call the segment Black Coffee Travels Can Time Travel or something. So what we did, like we knew the festival is gonna stop at midnight, and with this festival with a couple 100,000 people, it's a nightmare to get out because everyone's parked there camping. Like it's tough to sort of exit these things. So what you do is you want to leave earlier, obviously a little bit earlier. So what we did, like half 11:30, we like, let's go to the artist check-in. Let's get a shuttle, a driver, so we get out of here quickly, before everyone gets out. It's like a concert. Like, you don't want to leave when everyone leaves. You either leave way after or a little bit before. So we left a little bit before. We got to the artist thing. They got a driver for us and a shuttle, he drove. It was a little complicated to get out of there because it's in the middle of nowhere. But then he found his way to the main road, and then we drove to like an hour away to Brussels to the hotel. We arrive at the hotel around 1. We go into the elevator. We go up the elevator. The door opens. I go into the lobby. There's no one there really, and all of a sudden, Black Coffee walks in. We're like, huh? Like, and I was so shocked because it's like, this guy played till midnight for sure. So he must have had like a guy waiting there at the stage and jump into the car, not even say bye to his friends or something. And this car must have flown like super high speed because we left half an hour earlier with the same drive. And he was just there. Like, and so we're like, did he take a helicopter or like,
maybe
does he do maybe, yeah, who knows? Like, I mean, this is the superstar guy, right? This guy who gets paid 6 figures. He's they built the festival around him, right? He's the
I'm sure that he can helicopter. Or just like he walks off the stage into the bus and the bus leaves.
And goes, yeah. And then the bus probably drove super fast. Like, he came there earlier than us, basically. I was like, wow, this next level. And I was so like shocked because I didn't expect it. And I'm like, all I could like sort of mumble, be like, hey, great set and stuff. And he's like, thank you. And then he just went into the elevator.
Are you friends?
No. I think I shook hands one time in Ibiza, but this guy he gets to know hundreds of people every day, so he doesn't remember unless you really work. So maybe now he really saw my look. I'm sure I'm bumping into him again. We met his manager, like this girl and this lady.
From one time traveler to another, you're like, I'm also a time lord. I don't age. Nice to meet you. Let's go. What's that show with the swords and the time traveling? Shot in Vancouver.
I don't know. I don't watch shows.
It's like from the 80s, like Time Lords, and there's the posters like this.
Highlander.
Highlander. See, I knew you'd know it. That sounds German too.
No, but Highlander was great because they couldn't die, right? And you only with the one sword where you had to behead someone.
Yeah, you got too excited about Highlander. I think you're one of them.
Christopher Lambert or something was the
with the long hair.
Yeah, with the long hair.
Yeah. That show sucked.
No, it was a movie though. I don't know if the show.
I think the movie was good. The show was bad.
Okay, I never saw the show. I only saw the movie. The movie was dope. I remember.
Your whole life is based on it.
No, so that was the extreme.
You're like, this is an instructional video, not a movie.
Yeah. Okay, now here's another music. Like this whole week was just events. So I went to this event from IQOS. Do you know what IQOS is? You probably don't because you don't smoke. Okay, so I don't smoke anymore. So basically, it's interesting from a business perspective. Like, so Philip Morris, obviously the biggest tobacco brand, they do Marlboro and all that stuff. So a while ago, apparently, like in the car industry, they switched to so-called e-cigarettes. So what it is basically, it's these things where you have like a small cigarette and you put it in, and then it sort of heats up the thing, but nothing burns. So there's no tar and no smoke. It only heats up the nicotine, and then you sort of inhale the nicotine and you let it out. There's still a little bit of smoke, but it smells different. That's like it's like an e-cigarette, basically.
Yeah, it's vaping.
Have you? No, it's there's a difference between vaping, because vaping has like more flavors and all that stuff. This is really like smoking, e-smoking. I thought so too. I was like, yeah, you mean the vaping with the big... Vaping is the things with like the big smoke. Like it's basically... And it's really not... none of this stuff is good for your health, obviously. But the vaping is, from what I could tell, it's like you inhale deeper, there's way more smoke, and there's like flavors and all that stuff. So it's like a little bit of Arabic culture, like, with the water...
the hookah.
Pipes and stuff, yeah. Hookah and all that stuff.
Yeah, but it's still vaping. E, right? There's like a jewel in the pod.
It's still E, yeah. So, but the IQOS is their own little thing that they invented. And it's for smokers to convert them to e-smokers. And what it is, like, you still get the nicotine kick. So you have that tingle, that nicotine, but you don't have all the bad stuff from the smoke, from the actual smoke. Yeah.
So have they solved the thing with healthy smoking?
I guess, yeah, in a way it solved it because it's like it doesn't burn anything. You can do it indoors really because it smells very little, and it's like a premium thing. And they have this new thing I was invited through a friend of mine, and she basically got me on the list there, and I went to because it was a big production. It's like you should go there. It's a nice event. We spent lots of money. I mean, we're talking this event like at least $500,000 or $1 million budget. We're talking 3,000 people. We're talking stages, like laser shows, dancers, and just to launch this new ICOS thing, you know. And then I bumped into a lot of people there and DJs, and yeah, it looks like very stylish, like a black pen, and then you just put a little filter in there. And then I can't believe we're doing advertising now, but I guess like it was very interesting and it works. Apparently, every smoker that tries it gets hooked on it and doesn't smoke normal cigarettes anymore. So
Get Out. You mean numbers, the cigarette company they figured out how to get you hooked on the next product? Who would have thought?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, this is like, it's genius business. I'm like, wow. And then everyone's like, yeah, it's cheaper. And so I'm like, then I did the math. I'm like, what do you mean it's cheaper? Those filters, they cost a little less than a normal pack of cigarettes, like $7 or whatever. Then I'm like, yeah, but how many of these things are in there? And she's like, yeah, 10 only. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but a pack of cigarettes has 20. So basically, they even doubled the price on the filters on the actual cigarettes, and the thing costs $100 to buy. Like it's like a high end technology. You have to charge it with a USB. It's like a high end technology. So basically, Philip Morris.
High end would be wireless when you put it down.
Yeah, no, but it has like just look USB it up, like it looks crazy, like, and it's very stylish now. It's very premium product. It looks like high tech, you know. And the thing is like, and then you own like a normal cigarette, you would smoke for 10 minutes. This thing you only smoke for 2-3 minutes, so you smoke more because you still sort of puff on something, right? And you inhale more nicotine, which is obviously gives you a different kick, and all these cigarettes cost double the money. So I think like you can invest. Philip Morris is going to be safe. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't know,
and then,
but
then we'll see.
That's just like Nespresso. The Nespresso, like they had these little pods that were like 40 cents. And then they're like,
I think it works. Nespresso, right? Nespresso brand is huge.
Well, it's part of Nestle, which is like the biggest.
Yeah, it's Nestle. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hot coffee company. I think like keeping us all on caffeine, but the pod was like $5 or something, and then anyone could make the pods. Like they came off patent, so like other you can get a Pete's Coffee one, which is actually what I use, and then you all these other ones, and then they said, well, we're not having any of that. We're going to invent a new machine where the pods are now $1.20 each, and they have a barcode on them, so you can't even put a different pod in there.
You're kidding.
No.
Actually, I didn't notice.
And so they basically said they doubled the price.
Yeah. Waste. And then I talked to one marketing manager, and he's like, you know what Philip Morris really is about? It's not. So I was like, yeah, well, how many units they're launching this new thing? And there's like, no, they're not in the game of selling units. He said like they're in the game of converting people and converting habits. That's crazy if you think about it. So they basically, all their marketing is about not we have the best product, buy it, it's great. It's more about like, hey, if you don't smoke, you should try this because it's very cool. It's a lifestyle. And if you smoke normal cigarettes, you should try it also because it's the new future way. So they really want people, like they could want to convert like non-drinkers to drinkers in a way, or like beer drinkers to wine drinkers.
Yeah, I mean, they bought
That's
Juul
a whole different
for
thing.
Like $12 billion. Yeah. Philip Morris bought Juul. Juul.
What's Juul?
Juul is like the American. They like invented vaping, or like the JUUL, and like all that flavor stuff all came from them, and they bought.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like it's crazy how the e-cigarette. I wasn't aware of this. Like the market is so big, and they're really converting people to do this. I mean, I'm not gonna start, but I'm just saying. Like it was like in the event, like, and the funny thing is, it's like a mainstream event, right? I mean, I would say like there was mainstream people there because it's not a very like it's a broad audience obviously that smokes, so from young people, old blah blah. And then the DJ they booked, which was interesting for me to see, was like a super underground house DJ called Honey Dijon, like a black trance
What, black coffee, honey Dijon? I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, it's in the morning for you. No, but it was like interesting to see, like, and apparently she never announced. She didn't have to promote or announce anything. It was almost like a secret because for her it's almost like selling out. And she also worked on Beyonce's new albums. But I mean, I heard like she got paid like at least a 6-figure sum or whatever to basically play there for a 2-hour set for people that didn't really appreciate the music because it was like mainstream people there, more like they didn't understand underground house music, but it was like a cool thing to book and to see, you know, like, and
Wow.
I'm sure she's laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was interesting. It was interesting to see, like, that's how you make your real big money even as an underground DJ, you know, because you play these big corporate events. Of course, people can tag you, but you don't have to retag it. And some people know, but it doesn't affect your credibility, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
But so that was also interesting to see. Yeah?
I remember like you were talking about habits, like they would like have these marketing campaigns like light up for freedom. And it's like, and they really are like, they changed, like they got women into smoking for being like, you're doing it for the troops, or like, well, I don't know what, like they did, like create these things to get people to be part of society.
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, that's all because they can't do advertising anymore, traditional advertising. I think it's all banned to do alcohol or smoking advertising, like TV spots and all that stuff. So all they can do is create events, you know? So that's why events are the key thing, that create experiences, and these experiences will ideally transform people to use their product even more.
They're like, who can we get? DJs. Yeah. DJs will get us back to the game.
Yeah. So it was amazing.
How about this?
I mean,
press play for smoking.
It
can be a DJ, just one button on the finger, one smoke in the air.
On the icon. No, you don't smoke it. It's like the IQOS thing. You have to look it up. It's a whole different thing. Yeah. So, anyways, this was like my music events that I did, and obviously it was kind of very diverse, from the Scorpions to like an IQOS super commercial launch, and then to go to an underground huge festival in Belgium, like all within a week. You know, so it was quite exhausting, but quite entertaining and fun also, and you learn a lot. You know, like and you sort of you're in that world, and it's all somehow interconnected still, you know, like so and even like the biggest underground artists play at these corporate events, you know. It's crazy. Yeah. And it was like a secret, you know who we got, like no one knows who's playing, and all of a sudden, boom, it's Honey Dijon is there, you know. It's crazy.
Maybe they're spinning it. They're like, yeah, we'll play, but you can't advertise. And then they say, okay, we'll just tell people, you'll never know who.
Yeah, of course, they spin it. But the thing is, I would say like 90% of the people there didn't know who Honey Dijon was. They know David Guetta and all these people, big mainstream artists. No, he wasn't there. Oh. But basically, like, that's what I mean. Like, these events, it's funny, they should book like the bigger stars, even that mainstream stars would make more sense to me, but they want to book like the cool Berlin underground stars in a way.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah.
I was engineering a session with David Guetta and Kelly Rowland like a while ago, and he was the nicest guy, and we spoke French a little bit.
Of course,
which he liked.
It doesn't get more French. Yeah.
He was just playing some beats, and then he would give me like a CD of beats, and he's like, chop out this, and I would start looping them. So we'd find sections.
Okay, so he would, so from his own beats,
he would have like long beats that would have different progressions, and then we'd sit and be like, all right, let's take this one, and that'll be the chorus. All right, okay, take this one, that'll be the verse, and then we would kind of like make it into a song structure for the writers to write over.
I guess it was basically like the big hip hop producer right now. Basically, it was probably beats that he didn't even do himself, that some of his teams that would get sent to him, and he just basically chopped them around and arranged them, and then basically used them to create new music and write on it, and then sort of reproduce the thing later, I guess. You know?
Is he a team producer? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he knows how to produce. He's not like but he also, like, all his big records, like, he always has like there's like a bunch of always up to date new producers around him. Back then, it was a different team.
So he's like a tastemaker, kind of like Khaled a little bit, but maybe a bit more.
Like most of the big DJs are, you know, like Tiesto doesn't sit in the studio and program beats that much. I feel.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why more in the underground world.
You know, when you can tell someone has technical knowledge, like he had like he was not like someone who didn't understand the what we were doing. You know, sometimes you get in the studio with those.
Exactly.
He knew what he was doing. You know, but
exactly. So that's what I mean. Like he knows how to produce record, and he knows how studio works. He knows
that's
how to
the most dangerous combo is when you know how to do it and you're a good A&R.
Exactly, and you know how to. He put on a great show. He broke the whole like mixing. If you think about it, he was one of the first guy who to incorporate like urban R&B, hip hop, rapper, singers, and mix it up with the European dance beats back then, 20 years ago. And then this whole EDM thing sort of actually started because I mean,
well, the first one he did was Kelly Rowland. They kind of like that was his first American one.
Yeah, exactly. And then he did "I Got a Feeling" with the Black Eyed Peas.
No, that's Celine
something.
Dion.
No. It was
Love Goes On.
I forgot the no. Yeah, something with love.
Love.
I remember.
It
was a great
song. Love
in
a Hopeless Place. No, that's Rihanna.
No, that's Calvin Harris. You gotta type in David Guetta, Kelly Rowland.
Love. Anyway, so we do the session, whatever, and then he's like, "All right, I got to go back to my hotel." And this is like before Ubers. There was no Uber; wasn't invented yet. And so you can't calling a taxi in LA was impossible.
I know. It was impossible. I waited 1 hour one time, and it didn't.
So it's
and
like
it showed up.
Like we can call you a taxi. The studio people are like the manager or whatever. It's like we can call you a taxi, or we can ask the runner to drive you right now. He's like, get the runner to drive me. Let's go. And then he hops in the runner's like 1988 Honda Accord, and like the runner like pushes like pizza boxes and McDonald's wrappers out. And David Guetta sits in the car, and then they drives into the hotel. And later the manager called and was like, "Why would you put our star in a car of the runner of the 1988 Honda Accord?" He's like, "What?" And we're trying to explain. It's like, because there's no taxis. You can't do that. Like, it was a choice.
You basically they gave you shit because I mean, someone with a nicer car could have driven him.
I guess. They gave the studio shit for that.
Yeah, because I'm sure someone in the studio, the owner of the studio, probably had a nicer car that the runner could have taken. Yeah. So I
don't think like they just when things are happening and they're just not thought through very well.
Yeah. And I guess he didn't really mind too. Like otherwise he would have said like, I'm not getting into this car. Yeah.
No, I think it's probably like I would imagine it went something like this. Like, "Hey, how was your night in the studio?" "Oh, it was good." And then the runner drove me back in his weird car, and his manager's like, "What? What weird car? They didn't call you a black car? I'm on it." And he hangs up the phone and he calls the studio. He's like,
"Of course, like trying to make himself
monsieur,
important."
You gave me the wrong car. You only call you must be Renault only. There's no Renaults in America. What? Why not? We would love to have them. Citroen.
Yeah. No, so but David, the thing is, like, imagine seeing David Guetta in this shitty car riding around Hollywood.
Yeah, just in the front seat, like, to the Chateau Marmont. So he pulls up and it's like smoking, and he gets out. And he's like, clunk.
Yeah, that's cool, European style. Yeah, but you actually wanted to tell us some more. Like, I remember now about Kelly Rowland. You're like some stories.
That's a pretty good one.
When you were, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but how? I mean, for people that don't know her, I mean, you spent quite some time with her recording albums and being
a couple years on and off of just like recording, her, right? And she was just like a really like good classical singer, like doesn't sing through auto-tune, and just like very like a workhorse. Comes and a lot of times it'd be just me and her and like her man Tim, who's awesome, and we would just cut, chop, and then worked on a lot of songs together.
And she's like a real singer, right? Obviously,
real singer.
She knows, does all the harmonies, and it's just professional takes. Bang, bang, bang. She knows what she listens to. Yeah. It's almost as an engineer, you have to keep up because all these singers are so fast sometimes, right? Like it's like punch me in, but
and I think that's why I got a lot of R&B work in town, like R&B singers, because I was like probably I would dare say the fastest Pro Tools in the West. Like I was like,
really?
I was like super fast. I would play the keyboard like an instrument. I ran it in a way that I'd never seen other people do. Just like I used these different key commands to like rewind and just like cut,
Okay.
and
then basically like a robot almost, and then basically at the end of the session you would have like almost the perfect comped vocal already, I guess, right? Or did you have to do a lot of
we would
comping?
comp after it, and then you kind of make a super comp. So like if the artist wants like a punch, it's like punch me in. Like I kind of like it just, you have to have like a sense of it, you know. And I think it's because I was a producer too, and like I made songs too. So it was like, I think when you have that, I think a lot of people appreciated working with an engineer who was also understood production, because sometimes you get an engineer that's not really doesn't really get the song part of it. But I think that's going away because you can't really be an engineer as a career anymore.
No, I
got out at
because
the peak.
Everyone's used to
it's over now. Now you're like a butler, or you travel with the artist, or every artist has their own engineer, which I don't think is a great job, to be honest.
That's true, yeah. But I mean, all the big stars have their engineer basically.
Yeah.
But we're talking, there's only a handful, obviously.
There's
only like, there's like 5 jobs you have on the planet, or 10. And then the rest is like, and then I think so too, like vocal recordings, like nowadays, the good singers, they know how to record themselves, because you sort of have to, especially in the electronic world, because like you get sent an instrumental, people want a quick turnaround, you know how to operate a mic, you know how to have to operate a preamp, and then you just record in looping, and then while you loop, like you sort of, while you sing, I saw singers, I do it, like you mark the ones that are good already, and then all of a sudden, like, you just keep looping for 8 times, and all of a sudden you have already 4 good ones that you can use, you know, like, and it gets, if you're fast, it can get really fast and quick nowadays, because like you're just in one groove, and the whole session can be done in half an hour, you know.
And
the whole song,
the technology to like not screw it up is there, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Before you were like a couple clicks on the preamp wrong, and it's unusable take. Like you really had to know what you're doing before, but now it's like you don't really need to know.
So it's bulletproof.
So you plug in USB mic, and
it works. And the thing is, there's even things like vocal align or something. Like it fades out all the ends and all that stuff that you used to have to do manually. And
I like how
it sounds super.
You're introducing this thing. Have you heard of vocal line? Yeah, we've been in the 2004 ton.
I know.
Is it still a thing?
It's still a thing, but I don't use it. But the thing is, because I feel like nowadays, the more you put original, even small mistakes and stuff that's sort of out of thing, I think that gives it human character again. And right now, I don't look for perfection anymore in vocals. No. I look for something else for the human touch, especially with AI and stuff now. You know, like it's no one cares about like if the fade and the breath is perfect, all that stuff, like all that 90s pop stuff, you know, like clean up I don't think that's, especially in our music with more underground electronic, like you want to have those mistakes, those little things that are a little different, you know, that stand out, that make a human voice, you know, like I feel.
Who's like one of the more out of tune singers? Like who releases records that are kind of out of tune?
Yeah, I don't.
It'd be funny if you go to AI, like AI sing an out of tune record is like cannot do, must be, and then that's how you that's how we win against AI. You trick it into like
or like at least 90% in tune. So it's like it's there, but it's not perfectly there.
Yeah.
But you can adjust the auto tune to humanize, and so it lets through a lot of mistakes and stuff. So I guess
so funny.
Yeah, there's
it's over for us. Now. They don't need us.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see who wins.
Did you talk
to
Scorpion guy about AI?
No, he doesn't. He couldn't care less about it. I mean, if you're 75 and you've done it all, like who cares? I guess he's like his kids will care. But he doesn't seem like it wasn't a topic for him. And it's also nothing you bring up because like you want to know about hanging with the cool legends and the past almost, like it's nostalgia with
you're not like, so what do you think of ChatGPT? Have you tried it? He's like, all right, thanks, and he takes his drink.
He probably did. Like he was very sharp, so he probably knows about ChatGPT and all that stuff. I feel. Like I don't know. But it's also not techno music, which is it's rock music. You know, he plays guitar, electric rock guitar with a Marshall amp on stage. Some of the songs without a click, you know. So that's what he does as a day job, you know. So why would he care
without
about
a click?
ChatGPT? Yeah.
I mean, you don't play with a click at all live, right?
No, some of the times all these bands have to play with a click because it's all the light show, the explosions,
Oh
the pyro,
yeah.
it's all synced to a click. Obviously, you can't, there's no guy like that guesses. It's basically
Oh
all like
yeah,
it's on
you're
a click.
right.
Yeah. So that's the key. That's
That
what
would
the reason why
suck. The
people
whole
like.
you bring
Yeah,
it live and you got to play to a click.
yeah.
Oh man,
So all the rock bands there, in 99%, the 90% they play to
you
a
can't get
click.
a little intern to be like,
Yeah, it's so sharply produced, these light shows. Like, you can't, like, it would be like someone who would be very musical with 10 fingers, like, throwing all these light bombs and this pyro bombs or whatever. I don't
yeah,
know.
someone catches fire. Oops.
No, so yeah, we have to do a German English, then we can
yeah.
wrap it up. So there's a saying in German where it's basically you have to how would I describe it? You have to sort of you have to sort of toughen up and sort of do your thing and leave your comfort zone.
That's a good motto
And
for
the
me
German,
today.
yeah, exactly. So the German saying would be "Komm schon, spring über deinen Schatten," and the little English translation would be, the German English one would be, "Come on, jump over your shadow." You know? So,
I totally thought
basically,
Shatten was going to be something else, but yeah.
yeah, no, Schatten means shadow. Yeah.
Okay.
So you tried. Komm schon.
Komm schon.
Komm schon. Spring über
Spring über
deinen Schatten.
deinen Schatten.
Yeah. Come on, jump over your shadow. So I guess it's like
the shadow is like the scary part.
Exactly, it's a scary part, and you sort of jump over it. I guess there's no saying like this in English, right? No.
Well, I mean, like, it's get over it. You suck. You're being.
Yeah, but nothing like jump over your shadow.
No.
There you go. So
you're being scared. You're fear. Fear is like shadow. Seems like your fear, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You so basically
face your fears.
Face your fears. Have enough courage to jump over your shadows. So sort of surpass it.
Do you use these? Like, did you use it?
All these things get used. All the German
use them?
Yeah. Not maybe every day, but all these things we talk about it. Like, we use the Germans in general use them. These are sayings. They're not like niche or something. These are everyday sayings. So all of Germans and Austrians and Swiss, for that matter. I guess they have like, I'll have the local things.
You're like, oh, they don't have oat milk. We only have regular milk, and you're like, oh, come on, jump over your shadow. It'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Man. Go get it.
You know what we should start doing? Is just start using them in English.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's the whole point. Like,
but not like start being like, oh, come on, jump over your shadow. Hey, you're being a cherry blossom. Like, you just start saying that, and you're like, what?
Yeah, and then people. I think it's like L.L. did. It's gonna become part of a language, ideally, and then someday, like, language evolves through these things. And then, I mean, there's a guy. I have a little quick anecdote. Like, he came up with some stupid German sayings that no one used, and because it was so stupid and funny, we used it, like German sayings. And all of a sudden, people started using it, friends of friends, and then it traveled. And then I went to Hamburg, and some random people used the term. I was like, hey, where did you hear this? It's like, some friends of mine from Stuttgart and stuff. So it's like these things travel.
Which one was that?
It's just like, yeah, it's like little, like, it's hard to explain. It's like das geht's, like, it's stuff like this. Like, it's little small words.
Sounds like, oh my God.
People don't really use. Yeah, it's oh my God, but people don't use it. And the way he said it, it's almost like the way he said it. And these little things, I have to look it up again. Like, got used, and I don't use them anymore because then it got overhand. Like, a lot of our friends and people start using it. And
like in Toronto when they say guy, hey guy.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So someone must have invented it, and then it got used, and then people don't know the origin anymore. It's like the G.O.A.T. No one knows. A lot of people don't know it's from L.A.
Is that for sure? Is that just because we were kind of in the hip-hop?
No. It's for sure from L.A. Like, I looked at it up. Like, he said it, and he's like, and he loves it that people don't even know that it's from him anymore. But he coined the term.
Does he?
Yeah, and he did. Like there's no one before that sort of attribution to it. And it's also because he was a big rapper, people started using it. And it's like, this is a great term as a song title.
Yeah. Well, that was a good app. Yeah. We'll end on the G.O.A.T.
Good app, yes. Yeah, we're ending on the G.O.A.T. and then
I'm back on my clip game, so look out for our clips.
Yes, perfect.
And follow us at Techno Hollywood Pod, me at Latif Tayor, Chi-Thanh Berlin, and we'll bring it to you next week.
I think next week we might be in a different country. Let's see. You might have us have a different background.
Don't forget to record a little video so you can show me, like, hey, this is a little bit of the Scorpions concert, and I can put them in there. Yeah. Do you have anything?
I have, of course. Like, I have the picture with me and Rudolf Schenker.
Oh, I gotta cut it in.
All that stuff. Yeah, of course.
Okay, send it.
Yeah, I'll send it now.
All right, cheers.
Okay.
Techno.